Welcome to Toffee TV. There is a lot of speculation at the moment about Gabriel leaving Lille. But where will he go? He's been linked with Everton since February. He's been linked with Napoli. He's been linked with Manchester United. He's been linked with Arsenal. But where is he going to go? We are due a decision in the next 2 weeks, apparently. Baz, this was a player we thought we had nailed down, didn't we? And due to COVID-19, we had to sort of not step away from the deal, but be creative, renegotiate, and unfortunately, it's left us in this position.
Yeah, it's, you just said there, it's a deal that we were made aware of in February, wasn't it? There was talk of the medical taking place. Everton were quite pleased with the way it'd gone. He obviously was interested in coming, agreed personal terms. And then, like you say, COVID hit and it scuppered the original deal. I think the problem being with fans not being in stadiums and everything else is that it cut Everton's cash flow down. Therefore, they needed to be creative with, and it also cut a lot of players' valuations down as well. So a deal that we'd agreed that was closer to 30 million euros, when Everton looked at it again, maybe felt that he was only maybe worth 20 million euros now, you know, in what we're faced with now. So went back to the negotiating table, and it's been from there really, and the timeline, I've got a timeline of events of what's gone on since then.
Well, I think it was just because I know a lot of people out there are annoyed, I think, at Everton for why we haven't got this shown up. But I think in terms of the way football works, the monetary side of football, I think it was important that we stepped away from that deal, just because we didn't actually know. We didn't know when football was coming back. We didn't know how it was coming back. We didn't know how the finances were going to be sorted. A lot of that's been sorted out now. Even this week, the Premier League money has been, you know, they've made the decision on the Premier League money now. So the club will know where there's money coming from, but we still have the fact of we don't know when fans are coming into the ground.
Yeah.
We do know when the Premier League starts, of course, September the 12th, isn't it? So those things with a lot of uncertainties, and if you can't be certain of things, you can't be certain of money coming in, and there's a deal on the table for 30 million euros, whatever it was, then I think it makes financial sense, especially when you are asking players to take deferred wages, and there's risk. There was a risk. It didn't happen, but there was a risk of furloughing staff as well. I think you've got to put all that together and understand it's not viable to just go forward with a valuation that was created before this has happened. Listen, we're talking about this on the day that the UK has gone into recession, because of COVID.
Yeah.
So money's a real thing in football. It's not just this thing. I know at times it feels like these figures are just picked up and plucked out and just thrown around, and it doesn't matter, and he can have this and he can have that, and his agent can have whatever. There's real stakes in this, and this is what, as Evertonians, we found in the last 2 or 3 years. We are hampered because of all the money we spent.
Well, that's the key thing in all of this, is that, there is everything you've said right, and there's a wider global issue with finances, and we've seen players' valuations drop because of all of the stuff you've just said. But if you just ignore that for a minute and just take it back to the actual football club and the finances it's got and the problems it's got to solve this summer, if Everton were a centre-back away from being happy with their team and going, you know what, the priority is a centre-back, then I'd have expected Everton to pay kind of what Lille wants almost, just to get it done. But if your pot of money shrunk and you're trying to plug 4 and 5 positions, and you're still, like you just said, only this week we found out that the money that the clubs thought they were losing, they're not going to lose, but it's going to be spread over a couple of years, so it won't be as bad as it was maybe 7 days ago. It still doesn't mean that there's a big pot of money there. So the club have had to try to work at the deal. The fact they're still at the table tells you that they've come up with a deal that Lille aren't okay, they're not made up with because it would have been done, but they're not turned the noses up at it. I mean, if you look at the time, you know, we had the original interest in February, the medical. We had a report in April saying that Everton had won the race for them. Then following on from that, there was then reports that Napoli had a bid accepted and he was going to Napoli. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was Manchester United and Arsenal and their bids had been accepted and which one was he going to? And then we've had an Arsenal last week with the favourites and it was done. But then there's been two big stories this week that have almost changed it again a little bit. The Independents have come out and said that Everton are still there, but Napoli won them. But they would have to sell Koulibaly before they could bring him in, and they've had no bid for Koulibaly. And Arsenal and United haven't made a bid. That's according to the Independent this week, having told us last week he was about to sign for Arsenal. But then one, I guess, which is throws even more light on it, is this financial fair play deal that Lille have had to strike with UEFA. So that's come out saying, just talking about Everton have been working on a £30 million deal, whatever. It says Lille are hoping to find a buyer to meet their valuation and the clubs need to make as much profit as possible. They bought him for £1.5 million. But the UEFA club's financial control body investigatory chamber has ruled Lille have been in breach of FFP regulations and have confirmed the club have reached an agreement with the governing body to cover the next 4 seasons. Lille must not post losses of more than €20 million at the end of 2021 and then €10 million the year after to be fully compliant, and then no more than 30 million over a 3-year period. So basically, Lille have got to make as much money off this deal as they possibly can.
Yeah, and they've already sold a striker to Napoli.
Osimhen's gone out,
and they're bringing players in, of course.
They brought Jonathan David in from Ghent.
So we know, so this represents, I suppose, their last big out of the summer. Although there is talk of the right back as well, isn't there, leaving?
Yeah.
But this is what. So it sounds like Lille are trying to inflate the price as much as possible, and they're trying to bring people to the table as much as possible. It's funny hearing last week Brands saying that he was sick of leaks and I don't know whether he was alluding to this as well, but he wants to get business done early, and it can't be done if the club you're trying to buy off keep pushing stories. That's what it seems like anyway. We've got no actual proof of that, but we know how it works. We've seen this with Barcelona 2 years ago when we were trying to bring in Yerry Mina, and Barcelona were doing exactly the same thing. They were pushing stories. He's going to Manchester United. He's going to Manchester United. Him and Andre Gomez are going to Manchester United as part of a swap deal, and they kept on pushing it. And then Mina signed. He said that I've been coming to Everton since the World Cup. Forget all that other noise. That was just Barcelona, and it didn't get done till the last day. And we don't want that to happen. But you're right what you said, because we've already seen as well in the Højbjerg deal, where Højbjerg made it known to Everton his preference was Spurs, and Spurs made it known that they wanted him, and Everton walked away. They walked away from the deal. They didn't keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Yet with this, we know that offer is still on the table. So therefore, as much as people can keep throwing these names around, Arsenal and everyone else, just to scares fans more than anything else, I think, rather than football clubs. Football clubs have to hold their nerve. I think Marcel Brands has to hold his nerve. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but that's what it would seem like at the moment anyway.
It just looks like, well, especially with the story from the Independent as well, saying Arsenal haven't made a bid for him. And the stories that Arsenal have, sacked 55 people last week, but then
and bringing Willian in as well.
Willian in on big money, and they're talking about having to get rid of another 6 players, and they've got this. So none of it almost adds up. But then when you read, he's going to Arsenal, it's agreed, you're like, well, is he? But then I guess the longer it goes on, these stories do look like Lille just trying to bump his price up, which they're entitled to do, but he's under contract. They're trying to get as much for him, especially if they're trying to work within that FFP. I mean, I guess as we're finishing, do you attach any blame to Everton for not paying more at this stage? Or do you think Everton are right going, that's our valuation of him, and we have got to solve 3 or 4 other things. We can't just go, oh, let's get it done, because we've done that with other deals. So, I mean...
No, because I think what you said before was correct. I think what you said before about having other players to buy, we have got other players to buy. We've got centre midfielder to definitely buy, you know, whoever that is. Yeah. You know, whether it be an Allen, a Decore, Sangaru, whatever, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Whoever that player is, and we've done a video on that as well, and need to check that out. That's got to be our number 1 priority. It's got to be. And this is a deal that we want done. And who knows if we could get Gabriel done, then whether that'll be a knock-on effect for one of the centre-backs, whether it be Michael Keane would be the most obvious one because of his contract situation.
Or it could be.
And this will be the perfect time to sell him, let's be honest, after having a very good end of season. Or Mina, or what, you know, whatever. That might be a case of what we pay for Gabriel could be brought straight back into the club for whoever we sell. If we sold like him and like one of the centre backs in Kenny, let's say, I don't know. So I think for us, I think we sit here almost like, well, we want him. We were in for him. It would almost seem like we'd lost out on a player that we had, and that feels like you feel like it feels like that a lot of the time with Everton. He's like, I didn't even want Højbjerg, but I want Højbjerg. You know what I mean? I don't want anyone else to have him. I don't really want him, but I don't want anyone else to have him. I feel like that about a lot of transfers we go in for. And I think, but with this one, I think he's definitely a player that would make us better. Definitely. I think he'd make the whole team better because he's left-footed and he's got pace. And I think that allows the midfield to play higher. And it's not always reliant then to drop back. Because if you know you've got a centre-back that if the ball goes over the top can catch chickens, then your midfield can take those chances and get a little bit higher up the pitch. So I'd love to see the deal done, but if it doesn't get done, you know, I think we've been very clear on why the reasons are, I think.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, it's, you know, sometimes you do just feel like just pay the money and get it over the line. But like you said, Marcel Brands has been here before and he's got a valuation, and it's Everton have been burnt. We're suffering by paying over the odds for players, aren't we? Definitely. So we'll just have to see what happens. But it's one that I think every Evertonian, probably every Arsenal fan as well, and things like that, just want it done and dusted, whichever way it be, so that it can come to fruition and you can move on. If you don't get them. So interesting one.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments anyway. Is this a play you're desperate for us to get in, or would you like us to just walk away from this deal now? Do you think we will get him as well, or do you think he'll end up at Arsenal, Napoli, Manchester United, whoever else is on the list this week? Let us know your thoughts on this in the comments. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want more great videos, join us over on Patreon. The link is in the description. Thanks for watching. See you later.